Holla ballers, what's going on? It's Breacher, and we're looking at the Assassination Rogue. A little bit of a delay on making this one. Why? And, you know, I haven't really played it on live. I had no reason to. I had no justification. Just didn't seem to make sense. It is currently the weakest of the 3 rogue specs to take in. And also, it's that spec that people absolutely adore. People love this spec more than anything else in the world. And to see it at the bottom makes people a little bit pissy. I don't blame them. If you have a spec you particularly like Assassination, a lot of people love this spec because it is slower. It's steadier. It's much more difficult to screw up with Assassination. It's even been made simpler in Mists of Pandaria with the loss of Slice and Dice now baked into the spec as standard. And therefore, people really enjoy this because you can get very, very high numbers quite easily if you're used to playing a rogue. Not that it's easy to start with, but if you're used to playing a rogue, it's far slower than combat, even in this gear, and it's way, way slower than sub, which means people have more time. And time is such a wonderful thing when you're DPSing. Time to plan and to get things right and to not really lose points anywhere. But there's always ways to increase your DPS. That's what things we're going to look at. And there's nothing to say that next week, something like that, this spec won't be buffed. So as it was my least played spec, I've done some raiding on it. I cleared high mod normal on it. I've been out in the world doing various things. I've done lots of 5-mans and stuff just to make sure that what I'm going to tell you is correct in terms of an actual practical sense. Written guides are all well and good, but the reason we exist and the reason we do so well is that we can also bring in some experience, so hopefully that counts for something. As always, with a DPSer, we are looking at some very simple thing that makes things run well, that the entire class can be baked down to in order to be really easy, and the rest of the things will fall into place. And with the Assassination Rogue, it's quite easy. Keep your Venom buff up as much as possible and keep Rupture ticking. And that's about it. If you do those things, you're going to be alright. If you get used to doing those things and managing Venom and keeping Rupture up full time, then you're just going to have a really easy time of it. You really are. And everything will just sort of happen for you beyond that. So, what are we looking at first? A couple of important notes that you need to know about, which is going to make a lot of sense when we talk about our DPS and all that kind of stuff, is one is Rupture. Rupture, I said you need to keep it up 100% of the time. You do. What you're going to do is get a 5-pod combo point Rupture up and then keep that going. When it's about to run out, you're going to refresh it. You're going to save your combo points for it. It's about to run out. Why? If you look at this, it also does something else. You can see it says Rupture at the top and it tells you it does blah, 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 bleed damage. Don't give a shit about that. What we do care about is that little bit of text at the bottom. While you've poisoned your target, which we do because we rock a deadly poison all the time, your damage deals extra nature damage and grants you 10 energy. Yeah, you gain additional energy if the target dies with Rupture active. That means that keeping Rupture on actually gives us a lot more energy to then spend on more things to build combo points, which then leads us to doing more and more DPS, right? Really simple stuff like that. One spell buried on these pages and pages of stuff is the one that we really need to know about. So that is the crux of the Assassination Rogue, is just making sure that Rupture is ticking to give us all that energy back so then we can do more damage. And you'll start feeling, if, like I say, the spec is slow. It is slow, but it can also be very, very fast, especially when we get into some AoE, but we'll talk about that soon. Let's talk about your talents real quick. Nothing but changes for the rogues for all 3 specs, all pretty much standard. Shadow Focus is basically, you're going to be using Vanish a lot during your raids. Vanish and Preparation, which gives you more Vanishes. You're also going to be taking the Glyph of Disappearance, we'll talk about in a sec, to give you more Vanishes, and that's going to grant you this Shadow Focus passive, 75% less energy while you are stealth. As I say, this is a slow spec, so we can actually fill in some gaps there where everything's a little bit slow and rebuilding, and our energy is nice and low, going into Vanish, using an ambush, using a mutilate, and that's basically free. It's basically a free mutilate all the time. Very, very cool. At level 30, pick whatever you want, doesn't fucking matter. Level 45, check cheat death if you tend to be someone who dies in raids and progress and stuff. You guys are out there, you know it. It's okay. It's fine. Take cheat death and just protect yourself that little bit more. If you like to control your damage intake and you're confident that you're not going to be like, oh shit, I did not see that mushroom under Bracken Spore and now I'm dead. If you're not in that situation, elusiveness, wonderful, wonderful way to go. Shadow Step, the only choice. The only choice in a raid environment, it really is. Out in the world, you're taking Burst of Speed all day, every day, but while you're in a raid, you're taking Shadow Step. For the obvious reason is that Burst of Speed costs too much, it loses us DPS, and Shadow Step instantly puts us back in melee range, and if we're not in melee range, we're not doing any damage. Pretty simple. Level 75, you should be taking Prey on the Weak. Again, as always, little caveat with this from experience. If you have things like Warriors, and you have fucking Hammer of Justice Happy Paladins, somebody who's going to fuck up your kidney shot, I tend to think it's not worth it. If your kidney shot is lasting like regularly 2 seconds or something, it's really not worth it compared to internal bleeding, which just does shitloads of damage. Personal damage doesn't help the raid, as Prey of the Week does, and I keep drilling home every time I get there. Please let me stun things, but if not, then there's your choices there. Personal DPS, internal bleeding. Everybody else, including yourself, prey on the weak. Simple as that. Level 90, anticipation is pretty much the only choice. Some people are really trying to push Mark for death. Believe me, I read up on rogues all the time. It is my main class. People really trying to push Mark for death. It's just a pain in the ass. Anticipation just allows you to do so much more. People seem to forget when they're looking at the Sims and stuff that pooling energy and resources, just building up a load of combo points and a load of energy for that big burst helps you so much more. So much more than just trying to work in some fiddly 1 minute cooldown all the time. At level 100, Shadow Reflection is our only choice. Again, with the idea of Rupture, as we talked about giving energy back, Venom Rush is kind of a non-thing. Shadow Reflection lines up perfectly with Vendetta, our big DPS cooldown. As always, I give the caveat, please do not keep macro these together. So many sites will tell you to macro Shadow Reflection and Vendetta together. Don't do that. Have them separate because it's better to start your Shadow Reflection earlier and pop cooldowns and then go into Vendetta where everything is already active and you're ready to do DPS. Alright, very simple idea. Shadow Reflection and all cooldowns, then slap the Vendetta on while all that's active, and then boom, 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 boom. Happy, happy days. Very easy. Talk about our glyphs. Your mandatory glyph is Glyph of Vendetta. Yeah, it's just a flat-out DPS boost. Why it exists, I don't know, but it does. So take it, because that makes you smirt, and you want to be smirt. Glyph of Energy is a must, in my opinion. An absolute must. It really is, even over Glyph of Sprint. And the reason for this is pooling. We're pooling for Shadow Reflection, we're pooling for Vendetta, okay? We're going into those two abilities at the same time every single time. They line up perfectly, which means we want as many resources as we can. 20 energy is a good chunk of resource. Get the Glyph of Energy, because you can use it every big DPS cooldown. Awesome. And the Glyph of Disappearance I talked about earlier, because it grants you free mutilates, essentially. 75% reduction in the cost of mutilate very, very regularly. Who doesn't want that, right? Who the fuck doesn't want free abilities that give combo points and all that good shit? It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Now, what Assassination does suffer from is stat decisions. Stat decisions. Now, I say suffer, but actually, this is WoD. The game has changed. Back in the day, you would be like, I want to reforge this and this and this. Let me tell you something. It doesn't fucking matter anymore. It doesn't matter. The stats are so damn close that every time you get a new item, it probably pushes one thing higher than the other, right? Your crit and your mastery and your multi-strike and all that will swap around in terms of what's best for you personally. But then you go, but I can't reforge it really, or do much about it anyway. I might be able to gem it if I got lucky, and even then it's like 0.1 of a fucking 0.01 in some cases of a stat difference. Let me tell you something, guys. In Warlords of Draenor, you get what you're given and you fucking live with it. And that is the case of Warlords of Draenor. If you have a big item level upgrade, that's what you've got. That's it. Now, if you have choices, which is always the good way to be, we're obviously going to be rolling with daggers, your two best daggers and your strongest dagger in your main hand, but you're going to be wanting things like crit. Okay, at this stage of the game, when this guide is produced, you want crit as high as possible. Mastery, sadly, which should be at the top, is actually like 3 or 4. But again, the difference is marginal, real marginal. It's not worth crying about and getting upset about and worrying about. Just get those stats up there. Just aim for as much crit as possible, and you're going to be having a happy, happy day. Now, I will point out for those of you who are armoring me and stuff, is I'm currently gemmed for multi-strike, and that's because I generally play sub, because Assassination, not really raid viable right now, but I know people love it, and you're going to want to rock it anyway. But again, daggers, strongest one in your main hand, like this heroic warforged one, and then you want your shitty one in your offhand. If they're both equal, doesn't fucking matter. Whichever's the best. Easy, easy, easy. Now, how do we do DPS with this thing? Simple, simple Simon. Assassination is a simple Simon spec, but there's a few ways we can do more than the other guy, which is what you always want to do. It's why you come and see me, right? You might have 2 rogues, both playing the same spec. You want to be the guy who's always higher than the other one. Simple as that. So how do we do that? Well, there's our boss, our Mr. Target Nummy there, big skull on him. Oh my god, big boss. We're going to start in stealth, obviously. We're going to be chilling at the back, waiting to go. We've got our deadly poison on. No way of cheesing combo points like sub. We're just going to have to wait and see. We're going to pop a Tricks of the Trade. I have a focus Tricks of the Trade macro, and then I have a focus thing here so I can swap it to anybody in the fight. Simple macros like /focus. That's all that macro is. And this one is /target focus, tricks of the trade. Simple as that. And I can swap it around in a fight. And you will be doing that in Highmall, by the way, on regular occasions. So, we're starting the fight. Got that countdown coming at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as soon as it gets down to 2, we're going to take a potion because we're about to kick ass. Make sure you've got shitloads of potions on you. I'm currently rocking 150. Nice. Then we're going to shadow step in. I'm going to take this slow. Okay, you're going to do this very, very quickly. Shadow step in. Instantly behind the boss. Ready to kick its ass. This boss is now terrified. We're going to cast a mutilate. Boom. Now, your instant reaction is going to be like, I'm good. I want to cast something. You're not. You're just going to do mutilate and you're going to go to 5 combo points. Now, this is where it gets funky. What you're going to do is you're going to pop Rupture, then you're going to pop Shadow Reflection, and all your cooldowns you have unused stuff, right? And then you're going to wait till you get to near cap energy, just near cap energy. Then you're going to pop your Vendetta, then you're going to go to town on this bitch, yeah? Lots and lots and lots of fucking and mutilates and ambush and dispatch, as it's called. I like to look at it as backstab, but whatever. And you're going into it. You want to keep that Rupture ticking. And now we're going into what we call the Envenom Management. You can see I've got a little tell me when here. It says 3, 2, 1. And I'm waiting for that Envenom to run out. And then when it's run out, that's when I'm safe to refresh it. Now, if I can get... This is the situation. I've got 5 combo points. I should spend them, right? No, wait. Envenom nearly gone. Refresh the Envenom. Okay? That's what we're doing. And this is where you're going to start doing really good DPS. Rupture overrides any decision you make. So I'm going to pool some energy so I can show you that again. You guys would obviously be pressing more mutilates than I am right now. I got 5 combo points, so I'm going to go like Envenom! Boom, 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 boom. 5 combo points and a dispatch. Wait, 2, 1. Then Envenom. Okay, and you're keeping this buff rocking. At the same time, you're building up energy. All this good stuff. I'm chilling. Oh, there we go. Envenom. Keeping the Envenom up as much as possible. Now, you'll notice the better you get at just relaxing. Let the Envenom do the work. Let the Envenom do the work for you. There's the Vanish into another Mutilate. Real easy. Once you get into this habit, use Preparation to reset your Vanish. Okay? And then Vanish, Mutilate, 3, 2, 1, and then Envenom again. Just keeping this buff rocking. Give yourself a nice warning when Rupture's going to wear off. If you're worried about capping energy, fire it off. You've got anticipation to store some combo points. This spec is very slow. Very slow and methodical, yeah? Always just chugging along. 2, 1, Envenom again. Carry on. Generate the next 5 combo points for the next Envenom. 2, 1, Envenom, and this is all this spec is, yeah? It is one of the reasons I actually feel this spec is a little bit weaker than people realise. Once you suss out how this thing works, it's very, very easy. So I'm going to take this as we're almost there. Our cooldowns have come back. So, what do we do in this situation? 2, 1 on Vendetta. I'm building energy, yeah? Shadow Reflection, all cooldowns on. Then the Vendetta, full energy, going to fucking town, yeah? Kick its ass! That's what you want to be doing. When your cooldowns are about to come back, I've got a 10-second warning on mine. 10-second warning. When that's happening, you're going to slow it way down. Don't worry about your Envenom buff too much because you want to go into that Vendetta and that Shadow Reflection with as much energy as possible because you're going to kick some ass. If you're about to cap energy in that time, just spend the energy on one Mutilate and just let it ride. Let it ride. Real easy. So that's your single target. That's how it's going to work. Very simple, very easy. What about AoE? Well, as you know from our Rupture, the more Ruptures we've got, the more energy we get. So let's say we've got 2 targets. The simple business is Rupture on 1. Now remember, we don't have to redirect anymore, so we can do nice things like target 1, switch over, Rupture on it, and you're going to keep doing that. You're going to do this up to 3 targets, just single target 1. Throw Rupture on 1 target. Throw a Rupture on all 3 targets, and then you're just going to go back to single target. Hopefully you got something like this so you can see your Ruptures on the other targets. Very nice. Okay, I can see 11. I've got 8 seconds, 13 seconds over there. Nice and easy. 8 seconds on here. And I'm just going to go Rupture, DPS, 2 seconds, Rupture, and I'm going to keep single targeting. Nice and easy. And a Rupture on that target. And that is how you do cleave damage as an assassination. Simple as that. Focus one target, usually your boss or whatever the scariest one is, and throw Ruptures on the other targets. What about if we get like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mobs, Preacher? What do we do then? All you do is you stop using backstab and dispatch and you just start using Phantom Knives. Simple as that. But you're still going to keep Rupture up on 3 targets. I cannot express this enough. 3 targets. You can even use your Rupture at like 4 or 5 combo points. When all 3 Ruptures are ticking, look at my fucking energy. I can't even get rid of it. And when you get up to there, Crimson Tempest. Okay? Now, you're going to be asking me, what about Envenom though? It makes my poisons proc harder, right? The only time you use Envenom, really, when you're doing this, is if your Crimson Tempest is like just been put on, you had good combo points or you stored some for some reason. You've got 3 Ruptures ticking that don't need refreshing very soon. and then you can use an envenom. But in general, you're just going to be making sure, hey, look at my energy. I can just spam. I can spam all day while doing this because my energy is just filling up. If this is a situation, 3 ruptures ticking, then you can start using Crimson Tempest, and then you can start using Envenom. Should you have 3 ruptures ticking and the Crimson Tempest is like, 9 seconds remaining, something like that. If not, you're just saving up for your next rupture or your next Crimson Tempest. Simple as that. It's really that easy. Of course, if the mobs are going to die super fast, you're just going to fucking Fan of Knives, Crimson Tempest, and just use the fact that Crimson Tempest does way more poison damage and just go into it like that. And using Envenom. Simple as that. Just don't drop your Rupture. If the mobs are going to die real quick, just drop the Rupture, and your finish is going to be a Crimson Tempest and Envenom. And just Fan of Knives. That's it. Simple as that. Real easy. This spec is hard to screw up, guys. It really is. It's hard to screw up. So, what I'm going to do now is going to jump into 5-man. I always believe, as much as I can obviously demolish 5-mans on this character, it's more about giving different scenarios, different amount of ads, different bosses, different boss healths. We're going to jump into that so I can talk you through how I'm playing while I'm doing it and how hopefully you guys can kick ass on it too. Assassination Road, guys. I hope that helped you out.